Hello watchers, and welcome back to this channel and this video, which is a Duel, and I am today pitting two Casio tough watches together. On the left corner I have this Pathfinder, so it is touted as a Pathfinder. A video review I had posted up quite a while ago now. This is the Casio PAG40-3V, or I guess it's a more line model would be the PAG40, which is what I put on the table here. Now this, as far as I've researched, is a 2006 model. Keep that in mind when comparing to the model on the right, which is a recent review. This is the ProTrek, so the overarching line that includes Pathfinder. This is the ProTrek PRG-270, and -1 is the particular color designation for this black case. PRG-270 is the line model. Now 2006, and this is, keep in mind, a 2013, as far as I know, a 2013 release. So, you know, it's got 7 years of technological development advantage, and I think in quartz electronic watches, that's pretty much like a generation almost. Okay, so they're both triple sensor watches. You know, one is the ProTrek, which is the overall name for the line, and one is a subline called the Pathfinder. So this is dubbed the Pathfinder. Although, you know, when it was released, sometimes this was actually named ProTrek. So really, they're off the same line. They both have triple sensor, meaning they have a barometer, a direction sensor, you know, which translates to a compass, and a temperature sensor. They both have storage memory for the measurements, particularly the altimeter barometer measurements. They both have stopwatch and multiple alarms, but there are some different features which we'll get into. This one on the right, the ProTrek, has a US MSRP of 180 USD. This one I can't find out anymore, but on estimate, I think it's going to be around 200 USD, but correct me if you know what this original MSRP was. The equivalent, or I guess the spiritual successor, is a 2010 model, which is the line model number is PAG240. Those at the baseline retail for 250. So, you know, it's a more expensive watch. Okay, so let's get into the comparisons here. And you know, again, I have this this line of these 10 categories, which, you know, I've detailed before. So to start with, I put caliber or movement or module. So what we have here are two Casio modules. You can look at the separate reviews for the detailed module number. But really, you know, I've given the nod to the newer one. I think you really have to. You know, I've given this a 9. It is absolutely packed with features. This one previously, you know, interestingly, was the most feature-packed watch. You know, it's got that triple sensor. It's got, you know, stopwatch. It's got multiple alarms, compass, you know, dual LCD, and, you know, that duplex LCD, which is really quite a gorgeous little feature here. But this one just takes it so much further. You know, in addition to all that, it doesn't have duplex LCD, but in addition to all that, it's got world time, it's got a timer, and it's also got most importantly, tough solar. So, you know, it is solar powered. It's got a capacitor that goes for 9 months. You know, what else does this have that's on top? You know, apart from duplex LCD, it's got the EL lighting, which this does not have. This has a LED backlight. This has a rotating bezel, if that was, you know, important, but really not much else. So I think you really have to give the nod to that, particularly with the solar. Okay, so that's the module caliber. Design-wise, I've given 8 for both. I can't really separate them out. You know, they're both made to be tough watches. The button placements are identical. You know, there's 3 sensor buttons on the right, there's 2 on the left, and then there's the light button on the bottom. So identical button placements. Function really dictates the form in these watches. They're both made to be you know, casual, rugged, outdoor. I can't really separate them. You know, this possibly is designed to be a slightly tougher look, but you know, they're really much the same to me. Style, sorry, next is quality. Now they both have the Casio quality. I've given them both a 7. They're not world beating, but you know, they serve the function. I've had this watch for how long now? You know, 8 years, and it's still going. I've changed the battery once, so you know, it lasts years and years. The quality, I think, is really meets the function. You know, it is resin case, and they've spent a lot of time getting the right resin. You know, it's mineral glass, so it's not absolutely, you know, luxury world beating, but you know, I think it is what it is, and I think they're much the same as far as I've looked closely at both of these. Okay, style wise, now they're slightly different. You can tell they're slightly different. This one, certainly the one on the left, has a more rugged look. You can see the screw heads on the front. It's got that more I guess in your face bezel. It's, you know, it's just got screws on the side. It's got a tougher, rugged look. This one's more slimline. You know, it doesn't have screw heads that you can see. Well, there's a couple on the side there, but you know, none on this side. It's darker. The lines are just quieter. It's not quite as loud, but it's still got a very definite sports outdoor look. I think they're different, but they're, you know, neither I would say is superior. I've given both of them an 8. I like both of them for different reasons. Okay, performance. Now this is so linked to the caliber of the watch, and you know, how can you not give it to the newer watch? You know, yes, it's got 7 years more development, but it really shows it. You know what? They're both 100 meters water resistance rating. They're both resin cases. This one has the EL lighting, you know, and it's got that better compass display with a duplex LCD. But this really just takes it everywhere else. You know, the altimeter has a better resolution of 1 meter versus 5 meters on the older watch. It's got a timer, it's got world time, it's got sunrise, sunset function, and on top of all that, it's got solar. I have to give it to this. There's no question. I've given an 8 to the old one because it really does so much, but that just takes it a step further. 9 for the newer watch. Versatility. Okay. And by that I mean, can you use this? How usable are these in different contexts? They're not versatile in that sense. You know, they're an outdoor, rugged design. You know, use for camping, hiking. You know, wet weather. You know, that kind of things. It would be akin to wearing your sneakers or your runners into the office. Now, some offices, obviously, you can get away with it. They have a more casual feel, whilst in other offices, it would just be completely inappropriate. You know, I see it like that. So this would be completely inappropriate in some contexts. And this would be maybe wearing a quiet black sneaker that, you know, doesn't really shout out, but is still a casual wear. This would be almost like wearing my neon blue badminton shoes. You know, that's kind of the difference between these. So I've given a slight point to the newer watch, just because I think you may be able to sneak it in a bit better in some contexts. Durability. Okay, so I've had to give the nod to this one. You can see straight away that they're built differently. You know, this one is just thicker. It's, you know, 18 millimeters thick versus 14. It's slightly wider. It's just got more resin material protection. It's got resin on the back, whereas this one you can see the steel. I think this one clearly will withstand a better, you know, more of a beating than this one. Not to say that that's not a tough built watch. You know, I've given that a very, you know, an 8. It's a tough watch, but I have to give one more point to the Pathfinder model here. Okay, for value. Again, you know, even if they were exactly the same price, you have to give the nod to this. I think the module does you know, that much more with the money. You're just getting that much more function, that much more modes, solar, so you know, you don't have to worry about battery changing. I think it just, you're getting more for the buck for this one for sure. I don't think there's any question about that. Unfortunately, the value in this case is so tied in to the function. You know, they're equal in many cases, but it's just the function and the performance that this wins out. Okay, brand. Nothing much to say. Casio, they're exactly the same brand, so they get exactly the same point there. I've given Casio a 7. It's a household name. It's known throughout the world. It's probably known in more households throughout the world than, you know, than almost any other brand I can think of, because you're getting penetration into the third world with Casio. But it's not prestigious. You know, it's not a brand that you lust after, that you covet, because it's so affordable. So, you know, that's a controversial statement in itself, I suppose, but I've chosen to give Casio a 7. X factor. Okay, you know, again, in the realm of Casio, which are the watches that stand out? I think the classic, you know, terrorist chronograph has a bit of an X factor these days. You know, I can't remember the model number. I have to look it up and pop it in. You know, and outside of that, you know, what are the most famous watches that they have? It's going to be the master of G-Shocks, I think. So these aren't G-Shocks. They're tough watches, but they do not have shock protection that comes with G-Shock. So they don't quite have the X factor. They're exactly the same in terms of the market and niche. And I've chosen to give them a 6 because they're not exactly very famous. I think if you had a Rangeman Master of G with all the same functions and more, that would get a bit more of an X factor. Okay, so that's all the categories. You can see already, you know, where it's leaning, and the total, it goes to 77, a slight edge over to the newer watch, versus 74. You know, still respectable for a watch that is 8 years old in my possession, and 2006 in terms of when it was released, over 10 years ago. So, you know, 2 watches from Casio, both packed with functions, designed for outdoor tough use. You know, 2006 on the left versus 2013 on the right. The PAG model, the Pathfinder model here, is tougher. It's got some better features, particularly electroluminescent lighting and the duplex LCD. But the PRG, I think, wins out in sheer functionality, world time, solar, a little bit more versatile. I think that clearly takes it. You know, it does have 7 years advantage, so maybe that's a foregone conclusion. But, you know, if you took the spiritual successor to this watch, the PAG40 2010 model, that would pull it closer. With the newer model has solar, slightly more functions, but I think, you know, even when I took a close look at the features, feature list, this model, the ProTrek 270, PRG-270, would still win out. So, you know, that's the winner for me today. So there we have the comparison. You know, let us know what you think of these 2, you know, tough watches from Casio. You know, give us a like. Remember to subscribe if you want to keep in touch. And as always, I will see you guys next time.